actually, yeah, good afternoon on the West Coast. Good evening on the East Coast. Right now, like I said, I am actually working a couple of things here. Well, actually, first of all, this is a art variety show that I'm doing. So getting back, actually been a little bit busy. For people that don't know me, I coach JUCO wrestling with Palomar College. So we just got done with the season, and for the most part, just getting back to my regular schedule with client work and other little projects. Right now, I am working on this new coffee cup. I actually got two of them. So I got this Predator Badlands Cup that I'm working on. All these I actually blend with coffee. So I use a lot of watercolors and coffee, blended coffee to paint these cups. So I've got different ones that I'm working on. Currently, I'm working on two of them at the same time. So I'm working on a Predator Badlands Cup, and I am working on this Pennywise Cup. Um, so right now, I'm going back and forth between each one of them. So for the most part, my process that I generally let these dry. So usually I'll paint these and then I'll let them dry for a day or so for the watercolor and actually the coffee too to sort of set into the cup without breaking the cup down. So this is something that I've been, as far as process wise, I've been working on for a couple of years. Thank you. So for the ones that's on Whatnot right now, thank you for coming on. Like I said, I got some different things. This is sort of an art variety show. So all I'm doing today is creating some art. You can chill out, listen to some music, drink some coffee, whatever you want to do. So I wanted this to be almost like a Bob Ross type thing. So you can watch me draw, watch me paint. Also got a couple of things going on too. Mat Clash. It's a card game that I helped create. So we got two decks. We actually got two different series right now. It's a trading card, it's a collectible trading card game. So these are available for purchase, as well as some of my new art books. And so yeah, for the most part, these are it's really a art compilation. So it's just a mix of just published and unpublished work. A lot of my concept art, character designs, um, and really the inspiration behind it. So I'm doing more of a. I've got volume two getting ready to launch. Doing a more of a tutorial how to as far as how I start from any concept and then build it up into that full illustration. But right now, I am working on these coffee cups. So you can check this out. So right now, I'm working on this Predator Badlands cup, and I got the Pennywise cup. So right now, I'll just start on this Predator Badlands. I'm getting pretty close to getting it finished. Right now, I've all the penciling. I pretty much went through as far as colors. I've went over this probably about I said about three times. So generally, I'll do like I'll do about three color passes to sort of build up the colors um, the best that I can, and then I'll add highlights. I'm tempted to use some illustration pens to go over the cup as far as the final illustration, but I'm tempted just to keep it as is. So like I said, I like the lightness of the pencil and the watercolors. So I'm tempted just to leave it as is, and then I'm going to um, seal the cup after that, and then I'll sign it. So these are actually available. Whoever is interested in maybe you love coffee and you want to collect some collectible art, these are available too as well once these are finished. So you can check these out. I'm just gonna do a little painting here. So right now I'm building up some of the color here. Trying to knock out I want to keep the background, but I want to make sure that I've got deck and the Android in the forefront. And for anyone that hasn't checked out Predator Badlands, make sure you check it out. It's actually a pretty good movie. One of the best Predator movies I've watched. So you can hang out, chill out, and if you got any questions on anything, maybe maybe you're an artist or a creator and you've got some questions on stuff, please fire away while I am painting on this cup here. So normally I'll let this dry, and then it sort of allows me to be able to layer it down with a little bit more color, but I want to make sure that I don't overdo it. I've got this mixed. The coffee that I'm using right now is actually from one of my sponsors on my podcast, with Elevate Coffee Trading. So quick shout out to them. I'm actually using their coffee, and I have experimented that as far as with different experiments with the coffees, depending on what roast of the coffee I get, it generally gives me a different different tones as far as with the colors. So that's pretty cool too. So right now I'm just building up some of the colors here. Going over some of the gray tones that I had with some of the flesh. Maybe right now I'm mixing a couple of fleshy colors for the skin. That can be a challenge, but I'm just making sure I don't overdo it. And then for anyone interested, Matt Clash is available on the Whatnot app. If you're streaming from here, all these cards characters are original characters created for the Matt Clash game. So as you can see, it's starting to build up a little bit better with the skin. And in the movie, she was sort of fair skinned anyway, so I don't want to make sure I don't want to overdo it. But so it's taken me probably about 2 years now to sort of get the process as far as how I want to create these cups down to something that I like. It's been a little trial and error, but I am starting to like now as far as where it's at process was, um, how the cups are coming out. I'm also going to work a little bit on the sky too. I was playing around with some, sometimes it could be. I know for me personally, I'm more into the digital space, but even creating some of the sky, I wanted to have it blend. Can be a little bit tricky with watercolors. The more that I experiment, but I am starting to figure it out. So I'm working a little bit more on this background with the sky. For that, I'm going to mix a little bit of red with the blue to create almost like a little purplish color. So that's what I got on here. So I'm just going to mix a little bit here. And some of the what I'm using as far as markers or actually watercolor brushes, I'm using some dual tilt watercolor brush markers from Tombow USA. So quick shout out to Tombow. That's what I'm using for the to paint these cups. Um, And then I've got some watercolor brushes too that I use. I actually put coffee or water in them, and it actually gives me the control that I'm looking for. So right now I'm just going to paint some of the sky here. How I'm getting this color, I'm actually mixing a little bit of blue and red together to create almost like a purple color. Um, and like I said, I want to make sure that I don't. Sometimes watercolors can be a little messy, um, but I want to make sure I've got that sort of separation with the rock because I created some mountains in the background, but I want to make sure that I don't let that bleed too much. So I'm gonna let that. I'll let that dry a little bit. I'll work on some other parts of the cup there. So I'm probably going to mix in a little bit of gray too to paint the base of the mountain. So it's got more of the shadowy part on there. So I'll use a mix of almost like a mix of the purple that I created with some gray to create the shadow on the mountain there. And at the same time too, I'm making sure that I keep that mountain separate from the main figures. And if you got any kind of cup suggestions too, let me know. I'll probably end up working on one more before the new year. So if you got any kind of suggestions on cups you'd want to see, let me know. Like I said, I'm just adding a little bit of dark on there just to bring out some of the shadow on the rock a little bit without it being too prominent. So I mix a little bit of this purple with the black to sort of create that illusion of rock. Normally these cups take me, on and off a few days, probably about 3 days to complete. Really depends on how much time and effort I put in these cups. And it depends on how many, as far as just colors that I'm wanting to sort of layer in. So with something like this, I've been working on this for probably a good week now. Just layering on some colors there. Um, so the skin, which could be the hardest, is I'm liking that a lot. Um, I feel like for this one, I want to add in some blacks to sort of bring that out, or keep it as light as possible and just use keep the penciling as is, and keep building up some of the darks. But it's getting there. It's getting there. Let's see. I'm going to add in just a little bit of gray to add in. So I'll use some of this dark. I'll use a little dark gray to add in some shadows right in the mouth part. I want to do the hair or the dreads, and then at the end add in some highlights too as well once this dries. So we'll start with that. So I'm going to add in a little bit of dark gray here. So I'll just keep building up the dark areas there. And then I'll let that dry, which may take about another 30, 40 minutes there. So I'll let that dry a little bit. I want to add in some dark gray in the dreads, build that up, and then probably leave that on. Maybe a little dark in the sort of in the eyes there. So sort of bringing out the eyes. I know eyes can be tricky. I've been working on that for a while, but can be a little tricky. So right now on Whatnot, I have art books and Mac Clash cards available for anyone interested. Like I said, all this is in original characters and art by me. Let's see, I need to build up some of the shadows too, right underneath the armor. I may need to, you know what? Let me see if I can add in a medium gray. Doing a lot of color mixing here, so I'm going to add in a little medium gray here. Let's see, probably like right underneath the sort of the chin here. I was going to add in. It's going to make that a little bit darker, and at and at the same time too, making sure I don't let that bleed. I want to trying to separate the light and darks as best I can here. And creating a little, just painting some little shadow areas in there. And letting that dry. So I'm just going over, sort of reinforcing just a couple of little shadowy areas here on the armor. Um, once this dries, I'll probably go over it. I've got some different white gel pens and high opaque white pens, and I'll go over it and sort of highlight some areas as far as the for the lighting purposes. But I am tempted to go over this with illustration pen just to bring out some areas. But if I can keep building up the darks with the dark gray watercolor pens and not have it too stark as far as with the black illustration pens, then I'll just keep building it up with the black with the dark gray watercolors. Which is hard for me, especially with these watercolors. It is teaching me a lesson because I'm real big on at least having somewhat of control, and I'm figuring out with watercolors that I really don't have any control. The only thing I can do is sort of allow things to flow as is. So doing this, it definitely, while I'm in the process of doing this, the art teaches me a lesson. It always teaches me a lesson. Sometimes allowing things to sort of maybe sitting back, maybe working on something. And said it's part of my podcast episode. You know, you go 2 steps forward, take a look at it, and then maybe stop for a minute, check it out, see what things I can let go of, see what things that maybe I need to build up. But it's always paramount to always always know what your compass is, always know when to stop, because sometimes what you build up can be perfect. And sometimes it's finding that balance on when to keep going and when to stop. So I think that's really the plight of every creator or anyone that's making something is knowing when to stop, knowing when good is good enough, and you go on to the next project. You know, be proud of where you're at, and finding that balance between, you know, pushing and knowing that, hey, we've got something good here. Well, maybe we can let that go. And it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone knows when that little stopping point is. Um, so when I'm on back over, and I'm working on some of the eyelash, to sort of mascara on the Android. So I'm just building that up a little bit. Nothing too much, but just enough to sort of create that the mask. But we're gonna keep this going. So that's what I got today. This is being painted with coffee from Elevate Coffee Trading, and I'm using watercolor brushes. Go to tombousa.com. I'm using dual tip watercolor brushes. So this gives me the watercolor brush. Once I mix it with water, it turns right into watercolors. And this is really easy for me to paint on the cup and keeps the cup from not breaking down. So that's my secret right now. So that's what I got right now. Shoot me some comments. These are available for purchase. I got the Predator cup, and I've got this Pennywise cup that we're working on right now too. So building up. I'm almost finished with this one. Building up the colors on it, but we're getting to the very end with this cup too as well. So that's what I got. That is what I got. So thank you. Please, if you're on Whatnot, follow me. I'll be adding, doing some more shows like this. Also, too, Matt Clash, Series One, Series Two, and then I've got my art books for sale too. And I'm actually working on Volume Two right now, and that's actually gonna be crowdfunding because I'm doing some different things with that. So that's what I got. Shoot me a follow, and I'll be back next week.